Hello everyone and welcome back to my channel. Now I am going to show you how to make this a beautiful blanket. Look at this. Now don't think for a minute, don't dare think I am not going to be able to do that. You can do this. You will be able to make this beautiful blanket. Now you can use any yarn you want for this blanket. The blanket's name, some people call this Jacob's Ladder. It's made with these loops, and you join all the loops together near the end when you've got your blanket as big and as wide as you want it. And it is so simple. It really is. If you're in the UK, it's made up with treble crochets and a double crochet row, and then a chain of 10 for the loops. That's all it is. It's just a 2-row repeat, and it's a super easy, quick blanket. If you need to make a blanket in a hurry and you need something extra special, then look at this. It is absolutely beautiful. It's beautiful. So I am going to show you how to make this blanket that is called Jacob's Ladder in a Cairn baby cake. The blue blanket was done with a 199 ball of chunky super deluxe, this spot yarn from B&M Bargains. This is my 4th ball. I used 4 balls, or well, 3.5 on that blanket, and that's 100-gram balls. So this is 100 grams as well. So I'm going to show you the sample done with this one, and it's a Cairn baby cake. It's really pretty. So I'll get my yarn sorted out. So what I'm going to do is, there is a stitch count for this blanket, and the stitch count is 5. So you'll do your work in sets of 5. And then we're going to add an extra 3 stitches. So you'll do your stitch count in sets of 5. Now a lot of people will know that I don't bother with a stitch count. If I don't have enough, I use the tail to add stitches in. So I'll do a chain. Do your chain, don't do it too tight. You don't want the bottom of your blanket to curl in like a bowl shape if your chain is too tight. So I'm going to do a chain. If you're working along with me, then you do a chain the length that you want in sets of 5 stitches. So I've got my foundation chain done. You do your chain to the length that you want it in sets of 5. Then add an extra 3 stitches, 1, 2 and 3. These 3 stitches will become your first treble crochet. Now you're going to treble crochet all the way to the end. You're going into the 4th stitch in your chain. Don't count that one. Don't count the loop. That's a loop. It's not a stitch. 1, 2, 3 and 4. Into the 4th chain, you're going to do a UK treble crochet. If you're in the USA, this is a double crochet. You're going to put 1 into every stitch all the way along. And this is going to create the bottom of your blanket for a border. So I've got my little sample done. And I want you to count your chains, count your stitches. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Count them in sets of 5 all the way along till you make sure that you finish with a set of 5. So before we start doing the loops, we're going to do one more row. We're going to chain 1 and we're going to turn. Now we're going to do one whole row of UK double crochet. If you're in the USA, this is a single crochet for you. So we've got no yarn over and we're going straight in to that very first space and do a double crochet and work along your line. One double crochet into each stitch, and if you're in the USA, that's one single crochet into each stitch all the way along, and that gives us our foundation to start doing our loops. So when you're at the end, you're going to put a double crochet through that last stitch. Just pull that through, yarn over and pull through the stitch. Now you're going to chain 3. 1, 2 and 3. Now these are the 2 rows that we will repeat. This row of double crochet and then a loop row. Then we'll do a row of double crochet and then a loop row. And if you're in the USA, the repeat pattern is a row of single crochet, a loop row and a row of single crochet and then a loop row. So we're going to chain 3. That's your first treble crochet. And if you're in the USA, that's your first double crochet. So into the next stitch. When you do a double crochet, you don't go into that stitch, you go into the next one. So yarn over and into the next space. So that counts as your first one. That's your second one. We need 5. That's 3, 4 and 5. So your chain counts as your first treble crochet. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Now you're going to chain 10. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 and 10. Now come all the way down your chain and you can see a stitch here and a stitch here. You're going to go in to that stitch and then in to that one there. So you're going into these loops and it looks like a V shape and it's at the very bottom of your chain. It's the top loop of that stitch and the bottom loop that's there. So go through that loop and through that loop. Pull your yarn through those 2 loops and then slip stitch it through that one, slip stitch, and you've made yourself a loop. We're going to do 5 treble crochets. 1, 2, fix my yarn out, 3, 4 and 5. Now we're going to do another loop. So what you'll be doing is 5 treble crochets, make a loop. 5 treble crochets, make a loop. You're not skipping any stitches at all. You're making the loop at the top here. So we've done 5, we're going to make a loop. So you're going to do a chain of 10. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 and 10. Now I have experimented with the number in the chain. If you do less than 10, it pulls your blanket tight when you join all these loops together. So we're going down to the bottom of the chain, follow your chain down, and there are those 2 stitches. We're going to slip through those 2 loops, pull your yarn through those 2 loops, and then pull it through that one to make your loop. So we've made another loop. So we've now got 2 loops like this. We're going to do another 5 treble crochets into the next 5 stitches, 1 into the next stitch, 1, 2, 3, 4 and 5. Now make a loop, chain 10, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 and 10. Come all the way down your chain and go through those 2 stitches. So it's the top of that stitch there and then the one that's at that side. So it's this one and through that loop. Pull your yarn through both those loops and then through that 3rd loop there. Slip it through. Don't crochet it, just slip stitch and you've got yourself another loop. And this is what you're going to do all the way to the end of the line. 5 treble crochets if you're in the UK. If you're in the USA, that's 5 double crochets. Then make a loop with 10 chains. Then it'll be 5 stitches, make a loop with 10 chain, 5 stitches, make a loop with your 10 chain. So loop, and I've got 5 spaces left to do my last 5 treble crochets. 1, 2, 3, 4 and 5 into that last one. You're going to chain 1 and turn. We're going to do 1 row of UK double crochets. If you're in the USA, this is 1 row of single crochets. You're going to make sure that your loop is pushed to that side. Push it to the front of your work. This is the back of your work. You'll go into that very first stitch. When you do a double crochet, you go into the very first stitch. When you do a chain of 3, you go into the 2nd stitch. So try and remember that so it keeps your stitch count correct. So go into the very first stitch and we're going to work our way along. That's 3, 4. Now your 5th one is here at the bottom of this chain. Push your chain to the front. Make sure your chain is at the front. Push it to the back of your work. Now there is your stitch at the bottom here. You should have 5 in between each loop. 1, 2, 3, 4 and your 5. Push your loop to the back. Make sure the loops, this is the front of your work. Make sure your loops stay there. Then you'll do 5 double crochets along. That's 1, 2, 3, 4 and 5. So number 5 is there, and then the next one is there. So right around your loop you've got a stitch at either side. You've got a stitch at either side of that loop. Make sure that loop goes to the back. Just push it to the back out of your way and work along. Your chain 3, you're going to put a double crochet into the top of that chain of 3. Now your next row, chain 3, 1, 2, 3. So it's a row of double crochet, then a row of treble crochet with the loop, a row of double crochet, a row of treble crochet with the loop. So now we're doing a loop row. That counts as your first treble crochet. Skip that stitch right at the bottom of it and go into the next one. So that's 1, 2, 3, 4, and there's number 5 there. We're going to just copy. We're going to repeat that loop row again. So we're going to chain 10. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 and 10. Now you need to slip your loop down here. Don't forget to slip the loop and then do a chain stitch. It won't look properly, it'll look like that. You've got to remember to slip into these 2 stitches at the bottom of the chain, not the bottom of the stitch, at the bottom of the chain. Pull that through and slip through the next one. So you've created another loop. Then you've got 5 treble crochets to work along. 1, 2, 3, 4 and 5. Going to chain 10 and make another loop. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 and 10. And go into the bottom, slip through those 2 stitches at the bottom of your chain, pull through, then slip through there to make your loop, and you'll do your 5 treble crochets, make a loop, 5 treble crochets, make a loop all the way to the end, and you'll finish with 5 treble crochets. Chain 1 and turn, and then you'll do 1 row of your double crochet. That'll push your loops to the front. So once you've done your other row of your double crochet, it pushes that loop to the front, and that's when you'll take this loop and pull it through that loop, and that's what makes that chain effect on your blanket. So you will continue with this. So you continue on with those 2 rows. It's a 2 row repeat, double crochet row and your loop row, double crochet row and your loop row. So this is how much of my blanket I've got done. I've done, remember, each one is like 2 rows. You've got your loop row and then that single, then that double crochet row. I've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24, 25, 26. I've got 27 rows on mine. I've got 27 rows done on it. Now what you're going to do is, once you've got your blanket, no matter how big it is and what the size is, I'm going to show you what you do with these loops that we have. Now you take your first loop and you take your second loop. Put your second loop through, I'll turn it sideways. What you're going to do with all your loops, you're going to take your second loop and put it through the first loop like this. That's your first loop. Now just pull it up. Take your next loop and put it through that one like this and bring that one up. Now you're leaving, that's your first loop and that's your second loop. Now that's your third loop there. Take the fourth one and put it through like that and bring that one up. And that's what makes that chain effect. So you're putting this loop through that one and then leaving that one behind and bringing it up. So that's your first loop, your second loop, your third loop, your fourth and your fifth. You're going to do that to all your loops on all your lines. Put that one through there. It's easier to do it with your hands, and look at that. It's absolutely beautiful. It is beautiful. So you take this one, put it through that one, let that one go and bring that one up. And once you've got all of these loops done, I'll show you what to do. Now what I've got is, I've got my box of stitch markers. Now my stitch markers are like little pins. These are called light bulb stitch markers. They're actually little safety pins. As you can see, they're little safety pins. Now when I've got this last one, I'm going to hook this pin through a stitch and then through that loop, just to hold it, just so that it doesn't unravel all the way back down. I'm going to pop that aside and I'll get myself a couple of these. So again, I'll go to the bottom of the blanket again. So we've done that one. So you're going to take your second loop and put it through the first loop. Thread it through the first loop and pull it up. That's your first loop and that's your second loop. Then get your next one and loop it through that one. And we're going to join these, loop them through the steps in a ladder. Up we go. Just like that all the way up, and it's going to make your blanket really, really pretty. So I'll get this done to all my loops. So that one goes through there and up. So you can see how pretty this is. It turns out amazing. It's really pretty, and it's a nice thick yarn as well. The bigger the hook, then the more sort of flowing and light this will be, but it's beautiful for a winter blanket. You can use thinner yarn, you can use any yarn for this. I just chose to use this chunky because it's really pretty. So I'm going to do my 4 treble crochets as normal of what I've been doing already. So my chain counts as my first one, that's my second one, my third, my fourth. So my chain counts as my first treble crochet, and I've done 1, 2, 3, so that's 4 altogether. So when I'm going to do this fifth one, I'm going to catch this loop. So I'm going to do a yarn over and pull through. I've got 3 loops. Now I'm going to just hook that on, pull through my 2 loops yarn over and pull through my other two, and then I'll go to the next stitch and I'll do my treble crochets in between. Now what that's done is it's locked that loop into the stitch and it won't come out. So that's 1, 2, 3, 4, and I'm going to do my 5th one, put my yarn over, unhook that, put my yarn over, got 1, 2, 3, 4. I'm going to do my 5th one, so pull it through, so do your yarn over, hook up your loop, and then go through there to do your 5th stitch, yarn over, come through that loop and that loop, and then just loop over that big one, just like that, and it loops it in to the top of your blanket. I'll do my 5 treble crochets, 1, 2, 3, oops, that's going into the same one, it's my 4th one. I'll take my pin out, it's holding that loop, put my yarn over, pick up my loop, that's my big loop, and then go into my stitch that's behind the loop. So that big loop is just sitting in there. Yarn over and come through your yarn, let the loop go over as well and through your 2nd loop, and then finish your stitch. Do 1, 2, 3, 4, and on my 5th one I'll take my pin out, it's holding that loop, yarn over, catch the big loop, just put your hook through the front of the loop and then go into that 5th stitch, pull my yarn through, yarn over and pull through that loop, let your big loop go over and through your 2nd loop and finish your treble crochet. So what you're doing is you're doing your treble crochet and you're just locking that last loop in. So I've got 1, 2, 3, 4, and there's my 5th stitch. It's when I get to my 5th stitch that I'll loop that in. So I'll do my treble crochets along, that's number 4. I'll take my stitch marker thing out, it's holding my loop, yarn over, and then go through your big loop, put your big loop on the hook, and then go into your stitch to do that 5th one. Pull through your yarn. Now your big loop is just sitting in there. That's your 3 stitches of your treble crochet. So yarn over, come through that loop, let your big loop slide over and come through that second loop, yarn over and finish your treble crochet. Or if you're in the USA, that's a double crochet. I'll do my next 4 till I get to that. So this is what the top looks like once you've got all your loops in. You just make sure you take your loop in when you do that treble crochet. Once you get to the end, you're going to chain 1 and turn. We're going to do one row of double crochet and 1 row of a treble crochet, and that should make the top the same as the bottom. So I'm going to turn my work around and I'm going to do 1 row of UK double crochet. If you're in the USA, this is a single crochet. I'm going right in, I did a chain 1 and I'm going right into that next stitch because it's a single crochet, and I'm going right into the stitch. All the way along I'm going to do a double crochet row, just like we've been doing for the pattern. So I'm at the end and I'm going to chain 3, 1, 2, 3 and turn and do my last row of my blanket. I'm going to do a UK treble crochet row, and that should make the bottom the same as the top, or it should make the top the same as the bottom. If you're in the USA, this is a double crochet row. So I've done my double crochet row and my treble crochet row. Now what I want to do is I want to do a whole row all the way around the blanket of treble crochets, just to neaten up all the edge. Now into my last stitch I'm going to put 2 treble crochets. That's 1 and 2 to make my corner. This is going to take me around the corner. And what I'm going to do, I'm going to put another one in there, that makes 3, to bring me right around, and 1 more. So that's 4 treble crochets into that last stitch to bring me around the corner. Now into each section here, I'm going to put 1 treble crochet. I'm just going to work my way down, so into that section there where the treble crochets are, where your treble crochets are, and then 1 in between. So 1 into the smaller space and 1 into the larger space. So what I'm doing is I'm putting 1 in where the treble crochet is, and 1 in the row that was where the double crochet row is. 1 into the double crochet row, 1 into the treble crochet row around the edge, all the way down the blanket. 1 into there and 1 into there. And that's going to give me a nice even edge like that all the way down and around my blanket. When I get to the bottom, in the corner here, I'm going to put 4 treble crochets. That'll take me around my corner, and then I'll put 1 into each of these spaces. I'll go around the other side, I'll work along, I'll put 4 treble crochets into this last stitch, and then again you can clearly see where the little spaces are, and that should make it even up the sides. I'll do that all the way around my blanket until I get back to this corner. So I'll get that done and I'll come back and show you how to put the ribbon in. I'm just going over and under with the ribbon around the edge of the blanket. So I've got my blanket finished, and this is what it looks like. It's really pretty. Look at this. I've got the top finished. Now, what I explained was I'd finished that last row of the UK double crochet, of the UK treble crochet. If you're in the USA, that was one last row of double crochet. And then in the middle, I got my ribbon and I just went in and out. A lot of people have been asking, how do you put the ribbon in? Weave it, just weave it in and out, under one stitch, over the other, under the other, and then over, all the way around the blanket. And this is how it looks at the top once you've tied in those loops with that row I was showing you. And look at this, it's absolutely pretty. It is a beautiful gift. It makes a beautiful gift. And that is how you make a blanket called Jacob's Ladder. Now I'm going to fold this in a little bit so that we can see it a little bit, all of it. It's a little bit wide. Now you can use this stitch for hats, for scarves, whatever you want. You don't need to put 5 in between here. You can do 3 or 4. It's up to you if you want them closer together. If you want to do a stitch count of 3 and have these closer together like this, then by all means it's up to you. You can do that. It's up to you. So thank you very much for watching, and thank you to the ladies who've been donating me yarn and sending me this. It's beautiful to work with. I really do like it. So if you haven't subscribed to my channel already, then please subscribe to my channel. Please click on that subscribe button, and if you click on that bell icon, then YouTube will alert you when I put up another tutorial. So give this a try, have some fun with it. It's really pretty. You can do any colour you want, and you can use any yarn that you want. So until the next time, happy crafting, and I'll see you all again soon. Goodbye.